What's going on, team? Proof here. Welcome to a new deck showcase video. And before I hop into it, just a quick update. If you haven't seen my new post about my recent life-changing event that just went on, definitely check that out. If you haven't checked it out, I just became a father for the first time, so I'm now daddy proof. But the baby is downstairs sleeping right now. She's doing really well. My wife is downstairs with her. And I figured it'd be a nice time just to get my bearings back and start doing some type of recording again. So I wanted to hop into doing new videos again. And as of this video, there's been an announcement for the third set for Duel Masters Plays to be coming out, and they started to reveal some cards for it. So definitely look out for card review videos coming out in the future. So I'll go ahead and do those as well. But as for this video, it's going to be just a regular deck showcase video, similar to what I've done before. So I'm going to talk about the deck, talk about the card choices, and then hop into some games from there, hop into 3 games from there. Hopefully we win more than we lose, but at the very least I'm going to give you an idea of what the deck is trying to accomplish. And I haven't forgotten from the previous video that I promised to not show a deck that had water as a civilization in it, and I wanted to showcase this video. But the meta has kind of changed since before the baby was born. But even with that in mind, I still wanted to give this deck a shot because this is the one I was going to do before she came along. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with it and see how it does even in the new meta. So as for the cards, we're gonna start from the first card and then work our way over to the last card here. So we have 4 Ghost Touch, Shield Trigger card. Your opponent discards a card at random. It works very nicely for early control, early information gathering to figure out what the heck our opponent might be doing. And it might snipe some things out the hand that we don't want our opponent to have. It's good to time it when your opponent is lower on hand, because that means they're probably holding on to something important. And you want to go ahead and get that out the way so you don't have to deal with it with some of your other cards. We have 3 Snorkla. It is a guardian creature, which goes along with our evolution creature we have in the deck, but it's a blocker, 3000 powered blocker. And the reason for this is that it prevents your mana from being destructed, or prevents your mana from being destroyed. And even though dragons aren't really super meta right now, it is a nice sturdy blocker because it helps trade with Astral Reef, and it's the only guardian blocker that does it in this mana range. So you definitely want to keep that in mind as a check for Astral Reef, and it can evolve later to help us out. Then we have 3 Phantom Bites, Shield Trigger card. Choose one of your opponent's creatures and it gets -2000 power. It helps for trading as well on our turn, and then if your opponent triggers it early, you can help remove one of their early creatures to prevent it from being to prevent future attacks coming from those creatures. So that's way to help control the board, to help us get to our late game stuff. Then we have 3 Pickery, or Picari, whichever way you want to pronounce it. 4 mana blocker, just draws us a card on entry. Nice way to help get some little bit of card advantage as we help get to our later game stuff. Then we have 2 Death Mori. It says when it comes into play, you can sacrifice a creature basically, and if you choose to do so, your opponent also has to sacrifice a creature. The reason why this is important is because it's a creature, so we can search it out with Titan Giant, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but it also is a creature in that it prevents us from losing straight out to Alcadeus, because the deck kind of does falter if you can't remove it quickly enough. And Deathmore here, as long as you set it up appropriately, you can get rid of Alcadeus if it comes down by itself on the board. That's why you want to keep it around. We got 3 Locomotiver for more discard action. Shield Trigger creature, your opponent discards a card at random. It's nice against aggressive decks because you might be able to trade into something, and it helps. Also, you can trade it into something with with Phantom Bites with it as well. You can trade into Astral Reef. Then we have 2 Proclamation of Death. Shield Trigger, your opponent has to choose one of their creatures and sacrifices it, or destroys it, whichever terminology you want to use. The reason why we chose this is because it's a Shield Trigger, and if your opponent is playing Astral Reef and it's by itself on the board, they have to remove it. So it prevents your opponent from chaining on the lone Astral Reef, and they have to have an additional one in hand with the bait. And also just a nice way to make your opponent stumble along the way with their aggressive options. So I thought it would be nice. And you can return it back with Falega, which we're going to talk about right here. Falega is another guardian creature to potentially be evolved into. And it, when it comes into play, search your graveyard for a spell, return one to your hand. The way search works, if you don't remember, the game gives you 3 random options of the particular card type in question, and you pick one and you add it to your hand. So since we have a lot of redundant spells in our deck, we're likely going to find either discard or destruction to help refuel our way to help prolong the game out to get to our win condition. Then we have 2 Glean of Wool, evolves on Guardians. It's a double breaker, and while this is on the board, if your opponent activates a shield trigger, I add the top card of my deck to my shields. And this is a nice way to help counter aggressive decks, and it's kind of like an aggressive Bomedius in a sense, because if you set up your board in a way to one-shot the opponent, it prevents them from activating certain shield triggers to help stop you from winning while allowing them to win on the swing back, because then their board might be empty, or they might not have the board to be able to hit over the fact that they gave you additional shields from Glean of Wool. So it's all about timing with it, and it's a very nice way to help solidify your victory with it, and it's our finishing option. You only play 2 of them because you can search out with Titan Giant, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and because you don't have a lot of evolution, but you don't want it to clog your draws. Then we have 2 Borges, Demon Command. When it comes into play, give one of your opponent creatures minus 3,000 power. So it's a bigger version of Phantom Bites, and something I didn't mention with Phantom Bites is that if something hits 0 power through it, it's automatically destroyed. So it's a nice little way to help trade into other creatures. It freely clears away 3,000 power creatures, so you want to keep that in mind as you're using it. Then we have 3 Holy Eye, shield trigger, tap all your opponent's creatures. It's a nice way to board wipe if my board is big enough. It's the only way the deck can deal with Petrova itself, because Petrova can't be targeted. Well, second way, because Deathmore can do it as well. But it's an easy way to do it and deal with the creatures that Petrova might have buffed up as well. And you can help save you from being rushed down. Then we have 4 Terror Pit, easy, destroy one of your opponent's creatures. Very easy card to add at 4 of. Very nice to the shield trigger, or freely coming from hand, and you can return it back through Valega as well. We have 2 Natural Snare, more so to fill out the nature portion, because this is called Titan Splash, because you only have a certain amount of nature cards, enough to fulfill the need to or to fulfill the ability to cast Titan Giant on time, while also having something that's utility by itself. So Snare can be useful off of a shield trigger, or if it comes into hand and you already have nature mana, it becomes a removal option. And then the star of the deck is Titan Giant. When it comes into play, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the mana zone, and then take 2 creatures from your mana zone, search your mana zone for 2 creatures, and return them to your hand. So it's a nice way to have control over our resources, and so that if you put stuff into mana, it's not lost for the whole game. You have the ability to get it back. And it's nice to be able to chain it like multiple turns in a row to get a lot of card generation, card advantage, and be able to beat down your opponent through the fact you have a big beefy body on the board. So the way the deck kind of wins is kind of control the game, prolong the game against aggressive decks, and win through swarming the board with Glean of Wool, or against other control decks, you try to out-tempo them with your card advantage through the fact that Titan Giant gives you 2 cards back to hand that you might be able to use to help control them, like maybe more discard options or more removal options to outpace their removal. So that's the way it kind of works. So that'll do it for the deck. We're actually going to take this into ranked mode, which is the first for the showcase series, and kind of get an idea of what this new meta is, and hopefully we win more than we lose. So stay tuned. So it actually took longer than expected to find a matchup. It is kind of like 2:30 a.m. for Japan, so maybe that was a factor. Playing against another YouTuber, so this will be interesting. What was that? Holy Eye? We'll throw Borges in for now. We're gonna hold on to the discard for the future. A common thing that's been coming up is Light Water Astral Reef, just because you have a way to buff up your cyber viruses through Petrova to make use of the fact that your cyber viruses are pretty weak by themselves, and includes a new card in Martian Motherboard. Not a new card, it's an old card from set 1, but didn't see a whole lot of play. I might hold on. Actually, I could play this now, but then see what our turn 4 comes in. Maybe a snipe out an Astral Reef. I'll do that now. Ooh, 3 Civ. Is this an oldie but goodie? We'll see. Aqua Jolter. This could also be a pure shield trigger deck to counter the fact that Astral Reef is so prevalent, because you don't see Aqua Jolter outside of mono water very often. So we'll see. I could keep this, but I do want to play this next turn, and we'll hold on to the rest of this stuff. But I did get rid of that, which helps protect our blocker a little bit more, so that's always good. Yeah, this could be a pure shield trigger deck, which would be good for Glean of Wool. Snorkel Eye? Okay. I don't need this right now, per se. I don't think so. Because if I do trigger something like Phantom Bites, I can immediately return it through Falega, assuming they have some type of blocker removal up here. So far it does feel like our opponent is playing a pure shield trigger deck to counter Astral Reef stuff. Interesting. This is where Proclamation comes in handy. So I have to choose to get rid of this, which is weaker, or keep this dude, because you usually want to get rid of the thing that just attacked, as opposed to getting rid of the weaker thing. So if I top deck something like Death Mori, okay, Borges, it's not bad. I'm thinking about putting one of these two in, but I can also put this in and not worry about this too much and protect my shields. Because next time I can Terror Pit, that's not bad. Next time I can have Terror Pit anyway. Because if this is a blocker, this lets me dig a little bit deeper too, and if I can get rid of the thing in their hand. I'll get rid of the thing in their hand. Yep. That wasn't bad. I had a feeling it was something like Comet Missile. Another Titan Giant. Put the Borges in. Then I can Terror Pit, and then next turn I can have, because I only have 2 spells in there. I'll have 3 spells. So I'm not guaranteed to get the Ghost Touch back next turn, but I have like a 75% chance. Because I do need to Terror Pit this turn, otherwise I'm going to go down to 0 shields. So if I do hit Phantom Bites, I can get rid of the Pyro without having to try to discard it. Speaking of. Seven mana. I'm gonna play both of the blockers. That's nice. That was a good draw. Because on one hand I can play Titan Giant. On the other hand, I can play Death Mori to get rid of this. So we've already seen one Paladin. Typically these decks play 2 Crystal Paladin. I could have played another mana, but I'll get this. Or, Pipachi. Drew another one anyway. This will be, so I've lost 2. This is my second Falega. I can keep this around for next turn. Put that in for now. I'll tap it down just out of fear of Paladin, and he doesn't know about the second Holy Eye yet. And they're down two Comet Missiles. Another Titan. I'll play Titan now. Last Eye and Terror Pit. Kinda ouch. So that'll be 2, 4. I'll bring these 2 back. Honestly, I also could have played Holy Eye to play around their own Holy Eye top deck. But I might play Holy Eye to lead into Gleena. Also could have played another mana to have this active. But I don't know if they're playing 3 or 4 Holy Eye. Pass turn. Okay, I can kill both of these now. Play the proc. Play the Death Mori. And now he has to choose Coop to get rid of. And now I can evolve into Gleena. I'll play them both. Just have another blocker in the back. Evolve on top of this because now I can win the game this turn. And any shields that they activate will give me more shields themselves. Any more shield triggers they activate. So I'll stop attacking. But then I can play these 2 next turn. They didn't add mana, which means they can't go into Paladin this turn. slider for that. So that's 3. I'm not dead next turn. But I can also push for game here. I'm out of Holy Eyes. I can play those with... Yeah, let's go for game here. It might be a mistake, but this game's gone on long enough. And I can play Ghost Touch on something. So that's their third Holy Eye. So they do play 4 eyes. So that gives me 4 shields though. So if they don't win this turn, then I know I have the win next turn. Because they're out of Holy Eyes, they have no way of removing all my attackers. Excuse me. They did have the Paladin. I don't know if that was from hand, or I don't know if they got it from the draw from Hocus, or if they already had it in hand beforehand. But we got that W. That took a while. This deck is fairly slow, so that's something you need to keep in mind if you want to make something like this. 14 turns, and on to the next one. This hadn't reset yet, which is strange because I haven't played ranked, as I said, since the baby was born. So maybe I have to get it before it resets, I don't know. Playing against a lot of strong players at this hour. This person got Ballon Cup top 100, which was the 3rd month. Put this in mana first. No, it was Bomedius Cup, Alcadius Cup, Ballon Cup was February. Let's see. Put that as mana. See what we're playing against. See, we could be playing against a Light Darkness Nature, at the very least mirror match, even though they might not be the same kind of deck as what we're using here. So Phantom Bites becomes a lot less valuable in slower matchups. This hand's pretty okay to discard, so I can get that back later. Did I already put one? Yeah. So I'll put that in. See what they're working with. So very similar decks. They might be playing Balam. Ah. So more or less is the mirror match. That's what I got over here. I'll skip mana so I can keep hold of both of the Phalagas. Because it might come in handy to have both of them. You're not as useful. And I'm going to return a Ghost Touch with this because it forces them to do something with the cards in their hand. And because Proclamation doesn't do much because they have just Locomotivers on the board. Got some Riff Raff on the board. Or they can hold on to both of them and do nothing. This could be Alcadius Titan, which means I want to get rid of this. But if this goes to man, I can't retrieve it back. So 1, 2, this will be the third one. I can't remember if they play ways to retrieve creatures back from the graveyard. But I also have Titan Giant myself. So do that, get rid of that duder. So that's the third one down. I can't remember if they played the new angel or not. We'll find out together. So that's the last one. If I top deck like natural snare or something, that'd be nice. Yeah, this is Alcadius Titan. We might lose to this. I think they have a better natural matchup than we do. If they're aggressive with this one, with their Alcadius, I could potentially get Holy Eye. Then my best draw right now is my Locomotiver. Look at that. It's all coming together. Because this prevents Titan if they have it in hand. And this lets me potentially go into Death Mori next turn, assuming I get it. So we'll add this to mana. Get rid of this, which I suspect to be a Titan Giant in hand. Okay. But at least it prevents them from top decking it. Trade. Trade. Well, offer that up. So then if I top deck Titan or if I top deck... Okay, top deck Titan. How about that? It's all coming up Millhouse. So I'm debating if I want to add this to mana because it adds another card to my creature pool, which gives me less chances of hitting the Death Mori here. But I do have a pair, that'd be another pair. Because right now I am 75%, 60% chance to get the Death Mori here. I'll hold on to it. Because I can't play anything. But if I do add this to mana and I get Snorkel Eye, then I can play it for 3 mana if it comes back. It's close. No, let's not do it. We'll see if I regret that later. Sweet. So as long as they don't get a creature, then Death Mori here can remove it. That's fine. Alcadius is going to die this turn. So Alcadius dies. They're out of their last pickery. I'm going to add this to mana, play both. Oh, get rid of that. So hopefully the worst top deck for us is they get Titan Giant. Ah, darn. wonder if this is gonna come to deck out or not. I'll grab that back because I can cast it immediately. Don't want to start being aggressive here. 1, 2. 2 Terra Pits down. No more of those. They do have Bylas. They have a Geobreed in hand, which is a threat. But I could also run into... I've seen 0 Ghost Touches. I can't remember if this deck plays Ghost Touches. I think we lose the long game here. I think they have better control options than we do. They drew the Ghost Touch for turn. That's unfortunate. Pass because top deck. So they do play Ghost Touch. They just didn't have them early. Drew them back to back on us. Sweet. So I'll go up to 5 mana now. If I get back local, I can cast it now, which I don't. Do I have still just 1 nature mana? Yeah, so I don't want to pick that up. I'll get back these 2. I'm gonna keep it in hand. Oh, I can play it now. Do I care about if I hold it? If they top deck a Ghost Touch or a Loco, then that's bad. If I break their shields and give them another Bylas Tempest here, that'd be really bad for us. And if I hold it in hand, they have to remove something next turn or the upcoming turn. Otherwise, I present lethal next turn. So I'll hold it. They have no more Locos. Well, they could put 1 into mana. Terra Pit, Bites. So they could get back blockers. They can play that. Snorkel not the best draw in the world. That's their 3rd Titan. 1, 2. Then I removed 1. Yeah, 3. They have Borges and a mystery card. Which means that they still could have, they're down 3 Terra Pits. Them doing that makes me think that they have something like Bylas Tempest in their hand. Could have another way to reduce the power. So if I draw some type of removal for Pickery here, didn't. What's left in terms of removal? Got a Holy Eye at the very least left. It's close. Coming down to the wire. Not useful by itself. So I think that's their last locomotiver. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they're down 3 of their possible 4 ghost touches. I wonder if they're trying to combine Holy Eye with a Phantom Bites in the same turn, but they could do that last turn if they had it. I do want to play this, even though I can't really use it because it gives Tempest another target. And it gives me another out to let me win if I draw into removal for Pickery. So they're gonna go for deck out now. I kind of have to wait for Holy Eye. Hope it comes along at this point. Assuming it's not in my shields already. Ah, dang. Ah, 1 turn late. Dang it. They probably do have another Phantom Bites in their hand to get rid of my Gleena once it's by itself and tap down. I wonder if I was more aggressive here. But I can't play that. Yeah. This is an L. We have lost. Good game, sir. That was close. I wonder if I was a little more aggressive in the end game there, if I could have squeezed through with that last Holy Eye. This probably would have been better instead of trying to wait, but that's okay. Go ahead and hop to the last one. This is gonna be a long video. Ooh, fancy. Saying it's all thickness. Put that to mana, get the nature mana established. The reason why Titan Splash kind of works with this is because it's kind of immune to what you call it, to mana burn, thanks to Snorkel. And this is the excuse me, this is the light water reef deck that I was talking about before. Unfortunately, we don't have the hand to compete against it, and it went first, so we're already on the back foot as it is. But we'll see what we can do. This is a matchup where we would have been better off going first to try to get to our blockers first, like we had Snorkel on hand. But they didn't have turn 3 Reef, so that's good for us. And we do have the Snorkel Eye. I want to hold on to this for as long as I can. I don't think I need 3 Pickeries right now. I don't know why I keep alternating between Pickery, Picari. I'll figure it out one day. Motherboard, yep. So this card says whenever a new cyber card, or whenever a cyber card comes into play, draw a card. So that includes cyber viruses, cyber lords, etc. And it also includes itself. So since the viruses and Astral Reef are cyber in name, it allows you to get extra utility out of the fact that you're going to have these junk cards in your deck to play Astral Reef. So that's why it's there. And it lets Astral Reef draw 4 cards now. I'll play that. This is an occurrence where Ghost Touch would have been better than Proclamation of Death. So that's like one of the things you have to fight with when you're playing something, is you are going to go with the shield trigger. Because as you saw in the first game, the shield trigger was very useful versus the Ghost Touch. So this now draws 3, and then Motherboard draws you 1. And then this is also a cyber virus, so if worse comes to worse, you can evolve it into Astral Reef. I suspect they're going to play Petrova next turn. So we want to get down this, because next time I'm going to play Holy Eye. Got Titans, that makes a nice follow-up. Yep. So now Petrova buffs up all the viruses. Their hand's too thick to where this doesn't become nearly as useful now. They probably have another Petrova in hand, but this is our only answer really. Trade there. This deck just accumulates, their deck just accumulates a lot of resources. So draw 3 more, maybe they get Petrova. Usually this deck plays like 3 or 4 Petrova. Did they get it? They did. So the reason why this deck caught fire recently, thanks to Motherboard and people realizing that they comboed together and give your viruses that extra utility, and it makes your viruses a much more potent threat to deal with. While getting a whole lot of cards through Astral Reef. This might be a deck I showcase in a little bit because I do have the points to craft a few Marching Motherboards. And there's a whole lot of bevy of other decks I want to make as well. Alright, we're gonna get the Deuteron board. This is one of the new, since before the baby was born and coming back, this deck caught fire. So this is one of the new creations from the new meta that we're in. Get that, grab this. Unfortunately, I didn't get a Phalega back. So I suspect my opponent is going to just load up the board with a whole bunch of cyber viruses this turn, because they have 8 mana. Or I might do this into another Reef, into a couple more cyber viruses, because they are relatively cheap. They just have a 3,000 powered army, or plus 4,000 powered army. Yep, that's pretty much exactly what I thought was gonna be the turn there. They should start attacking, honestly. Oh, you're just tucked away, hiding. And Petrova can't be targeted, so it makes a nice last creature. Choose that one. And then Loco. See what we get. Unfortunately, I have to sacrifice my poor Titan Giant here. That's alright. It'll get rid of one of these. I get rid of that. I'm still way behind though, just because of all the advantage from the card draw. Because playing the extra blocker won't really do anything for us. If I can get rid of one of these two, that'd be the best thing. Then I'll trade. So they can load up and then very easily play something like Spiral Slider to get rid of my blocker. Or they can play Crystal Paladin. But you cycle through your deck so fast thanks to drawing 3 with Astral Reef. Plus the motherboard that you just find your answers really quickly. So it's very likely that they do get the removal that they need for my blocker and try to finish now. They are pushing deck out, but I don't think it's going to matter in this case. Oh, they didn't get it. See if I have another Holy Eye tucked away. Stops this one from attacking. Oh, so late. Because I can't play both of these at the same time. I think that makes my last Holy Eye. Yeah, one there. I think one's in mana. So that's unfortunate. If I do that, can't do that. See if I can buy myself one more turn, maybe. If I get a proclamation, I can do it. Ghost Touch. Not super helpful. Because they're out of Astral Reef, so they have to work with what they got. Probably have another. That's a third Holy Eye that we've seen. So probably have the fourth one. Yep. Shan Jelly. Oh, they're going the safe route. Kind of, sort of safe route. Yeah. Good game. See what I pinch. So I guess it kind of gives you a glimpse into the meta cards of yesteryear, or the meta decks of yesteryear, meta. Because we ran into something that tried to counter the present meta, and we were able to beat that. And then we ran into pretty much a mirror match, which very, very close, very toe-to-toe, which was another popular deck in the last meta. And then we ran into the new hotness and just completely got obliterated without much to show for it. So it's all good though. That was fun. It was nice getting back to playing ranked. It's been a hot minute. So unfortunately we lost more than we won, but hopefully you got an idea how the deck was supposed to function, how it's supposed to work. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Look out for some more of the deck showcase videos. Look out for more of the card reviews once the new set starts to flesh itself out some more. And I hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, that'll do it for me. And until the next one, peace. Be easy.